Wake up in the morning, feeling the weight of the world on my shoulders. I wanna move closer, but I don't control it. I know I've been trying, the door isn't open. I know it sound funny, but really though, in the beginning we really close. Now we just cruising up on the coast. Don't wanna lose you, I really don't. My God, I'm working so hard. I let my guards down and I'm feeling so far. You won't cut me off and I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to know you more. Please, I honestly say I'm mature. It ain't my decision, it's yours. But I will persuade with my arm, cause I'm ready to run to your arms. I just want you to know that I wanna go to a place where I find you, a place I call home, a place where I'm not alone. And maybe I'll grow just a little bit more, and I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. I go back and forth when I feel your presence. I'm above the world. There isn't much better, but then I fall levels and levels below it. Don't know where I'm going, don't know where I'm holding. I say I gave up, but I know I didn't. It's just my frustration, I'm only human. I act like I know what I'm really doing. As long as it's you that I'm really choosing. I will never give up, no, I wanna do it your way. You're the king of the world, only wanna do what you say. I know that it's possible to give back my heart to you. Do it that you choose. I just want you to know that I wanna go to a place where I find you, a place I call home, a place where I'm not alone. And maybe I'll grow just a little bit more, and I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. I know that you love me, I really do. Just wanna do right by you till it's through. Please don't ignore me, please just adore me. Wanna be closer to you. I just wanna make you happy. A shining light looking right at me. I give to you gladly, that's my reaction. I just want you to know that I wanna go to a place where I find you, a place I call home, a place where I'm not alone. And maybe I'll grow just a little bit more, and I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored. Then I'll be adored.
Now, from the MITM Business Consultants comes Man in the Middle, your one-stop shop for financial tips and tricks that big banks and corporate America won't teach you and don't want you to know. Discussing the latest and greatest products, services, skills, and habits to grow and support the financial needs of your business and you. Giving you the knowledge to help make your own important choices for your business and you. Disclaimer: Man in the Middle expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, reliance on, or inability to use this podcast or the information presented in this podcast. Now, here is your Man in the Middle, with 10 years of experience in the financial and banking industry, Art Abrahamian.
What is going on, everybody? Episode 21, Man in the Middle. It's been a while.
We're back.
We're back. We're in action. We have a special guest with us today. We're happy to have him. But before we get into that, I want to thank USCCA for being a sponsor of the channel. And if you want to know more about USCCA and the things they can do for you, click that link in the description below. And here we go.
It's in our nature
to protect the ones we love, to stand up to any danger, to be strong and courageous, to always be prepared, to keep our family safe, to be the first line of defense. We are born to protect.
I said, sorry. All right, go ahead.
Oh, chills.
I didn't have the audio back up. My bad. So, back here again. Been about a month and a half. Crazy stuff. We finally locked in our new office lease. That's been crazy. A lot of shopping for the new place. Payson has been on a tremendous track, and I really want to shout him out how awesome he's been and how he's doing. He's had the biggest month of his career so far.
So far.
Plenty more to come, but tell us a little bit about how successful you've been.
I put 10 homes under contract last month.
Okay, and what was the total for the 10 homes, like in
Total, like, pending.
Yeah.
Like, total amount of income I'd make off
well,
of
not the income, like total for the home values altogether that's on the market.
Oh, everything that I'm working on, it was $9.3 million.
Nice. And then how much did you close in that big month you had?
I think it was 6 of those.
And out of that 6, how much did you make for that 1 month of busting your ass?
Gross or like?
No, gross, obviously.
Gross?
That's the nice number. We want to stick to the nice number.
It was like 125,000, I think.
125 grand in 1 month, man. Congratulations to you. I always knew you were going to be this beast within the world of real estate, but I'm so glad to see it happening so soon, and I hope that becomes a reoccurring month every month.
I appreciate it. That's the goal.
Last time we were here, we talked about your team and the team you were building, and we'll get into that, but we don't want our third wheel here to feel like he's not involved. So we have Stuart here today. You brought Stuart, actually, because
Mr. Jeff Stewart.
He's an integral part of your team, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, so he's not directly on our team, but he's our mortgage guy that does all of our home loans. We met about a year and a half ago on LinkedIn. He had connected with me and then cold called me, which I instantly loved. And then he came to me with this crazy idea.
We got a comment saying.
Oh, the camera's all.
We got a comment saying that the camera's not straight. Hold on.
Preston saying
We're off to a good start.
Yeah.
You guys keep going. Keep talking. Don't worry about me.
Well, so he called me. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to drive down to the desert from San Diego. Let's talk about this idea I have for how to pull some more clients." And so we got talking, and we were talking about high balance VA loans, going after them, trying to get them to refi their loan and then get in and then step up into the next home. And so we started cold calling, and that's kind of how we started it from there. And then we realized we had a lot of similar interests. I've become good friends since then, I think. Is it looking good now?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good now. I realized we had a ton of interest, and then we just started working on home loans together, just kind of slowly at first. And then we realized we had some pretty good synergy, and like now we have this like thing dialed where like all my business right now is coming from open houses, and I get someone in the open house and I get them hyped up on Jeff. I instantly send this group chat with them and Jeff in it.
Nice.
I ask for their permission first. Go put him in the group chat. I'm like, hey, you got to talk to Jeff. He is the most straightforward, most honest. He has the best rates out there right now. Like, this dude is just crushing it. Every transaction I do or every home I sell, I work with Jeff.
Yeah.
And then Jeff all of a sudden comes right behind. He's like, oh man, you get to work with Payson.
Yeah, you're so lucky.
You're so
He
lucky.
is the best guy.
And
They love it.
Everyone's like, what? Like, what? Okay, we got to work with these guys. And so we started doing that, and it started working really well. And we've just basically taught that to the team now as well, and it's just starting to grow tremendously. So he's been an integral part. He's also awesome. He pays for a good chunk of the marketing too, so I appreciate it.
That helps.
Man,
That helps.
teamwork's not always free, and it's good. And you know what? I want to apologize. I said Stuart. It's Jeff Stewart. Stuart came first in my head for whatever reason. So, Jeff, my apologies.
No worries.
We just got told we're better than Asmongold, so this is already off to a good start. It said we should do a 20-minute battle big cut. Unfortunately, Raid Shadow Legends does not sponsor, and we don't want them as a sponsor. But, Jeff, how long have you been doing mortgages?
Yeah,
far?
so I've been doing it for a couple years now.
Uh-huh.
I've been in the real estate space for, I want to say, about 6 or 7 years at this point. So
Nice.
I started on the same side as Payson, actually, and then transitioned into commercial,
Yeah.
and then kind of found my way into loans from there.
Very cool. And prior to the real estate industry, what were you?
I was a washed-up professional downhill skateboarder.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You can look him up, Jeff Stewart, downhill skateboarding.
Yep.
Downhill
Yep.
skateboarding. So those are the ones where are they the longboard
The
ones?
longboards, yeah,
Oh,
going
dude.
60-plus miles an
sliding down
hour.
the mountains.
Yeah, the
Like-
Death Wish guys. Those
Yeah.
are,
Yeah,
He's asking
that
for
was
it.
me.
that's
asking
wild.
for it.
Well, one of these days we're gonna have to just stream just his endeavors going
And-
down
and the
the
same
giant
clothes,
hill.
and
In
the
the
same
same
time.
clothes, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You know, last time we were here, we talked about you and your team, and you said some of the things. Well, it was like we kind of roasted you, didn't roast you, but we put you on the chopping block like we would with our clients.
Right.
Right, where we were encouraging you to do all the things you could to make it a more meaningful experience, but also ensuring that you as a business owner take ownership of whatever weak link you may have within your own infrastructure.
Right.
How's that been going?
We're crushing it now. Like we went back, so we went through and we did the training. I broke things down. I think so. Last time I was expecting things or like hoping that they would just do things without like the proper training or the guidance to do it. Like kind of just how like I ran in head first. I was just kind of expecting people to do that, which was the wrong way of thinking about it. And since then we're crushing it. I mean, last week, so I have 3 guys on my team now. Last time we talked, I had 2 guys on my team. The 3 guys on my team and I, last week, we wrote a total of 7 offers. We signed 3 listing agreements and closed out a lease.
Nice.
All just last week.
That's awesome.
So, and a market, especially in the desert where it's 115 degrees out right now, like we're doing pretty dang good.
Nice.
And it's because everyone's sitting open houses pretty much at minimum 5 days a week, if not 7 days a week.
Very cool.
We're calling. We have a few different sources, and then we're really good at, I think we're getting pretty good at converting the lead because we're sending it over to Jeff. Jeff then breaks down their financial side, makes sure everything looks good on that,
Yeah.
and then sends it back to us with an exact plan of like, hey, this is how we're going to attack whatever we're trying to find.
Very cool.
So we've got
Yeah, man, teamwork's very important.
Yeah, it's been crucial because I feel like a lot of times, like a lot of I haven't worked with a ton of lenders in the past, but the ones I had worked with, like I never talked to them, and they're just like, hey, he's approved for $600K, go find him a house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there was no like help. It wasn't like where like Jeff like sits him down. He's like, so what? Like he really finds out like what's your goal? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And he really understands. He's like, and usually like a lot of times people come in and they're like, well, we want to do this, and then they come out and they're like, actually, we want to do this, and it's completely different.
Yeah.
And it just makes it so much easier of a process because we know exactly what they want to do. We know exactly what they can do. And so then we just got to go and find it and get them a good deal at that point.
Right.
So it's made it a lot easier. I just today, one of my guys, he opened up an escrow, which is incredible. He got his client under contract. And I would say we're just rolling now, but it went back to going back to the basics and working on the training, making
Right.
sure they have stuff. And there's still a lot of stuff we have to work on. There's a lot
yeah.
of training to do, a lot of systems still to set up.
Well, you
but-
got to remember too, as the market evolves and as the team grows, it's never perfect. And thank you, P. Curry, for the happy birthday wishes. I appreciate that. I just actually today's the day I'm back from vacation from that little birthday escapade. So literally just drove into town and I called Pace. I'm like, podcast. Okay. But you know, the team always grows. Factors always change. Weather conditions, especially in the Coachella Valley, where it's like our business is. I mean, you're from San Diego,
Yeah.
so it's like metropolitan all day, all year. The city's running and moving and grooving. But us, I'm sure you've already noticed.
Oh,
it's
so
like
seasonal. It's
very
insanely
seasonal.
different.
And
Yeah.
you know, people in your industry, people in my industry, people in your industry, they go broke during this time. This is like we need to, you know, we got to starve for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the snowbirds start coming back, we'll start making money. So I'm really happy that you've
If this is my starving, I'm good with it.
right. Yeah, no kidding. If you're starving at 125K per month, I can't wait to see what you look like full. You know what I mean? So that's really awesome. And you know, just continue to work on your team. You know, they're a reflection of you. And a lot of people, oh well, you know, it's their responsibility. Sure, but this is your crew. And what I told you was, it took you how long to figure this out? Don't make them learn in that length too,
Right.
because
Whole point is to make it as fast as possible.
right,
Give them the fast.
you
track to
build
it.
that character, and that's great. You don't need them to build that same battle scar character, wounds. It's just you're trying to make them efficient instead of making them learn themselves after 3 years. Condense it all down, teach it to them the way it works now, because that's how you make it more effective.
Yeah, and I feel like I've just seen a complete difference in the team already too since he's focused on that.
Yeah.
There's just been clarity, and I think they knew kind of the big picture of what direction to
Money.
go. Yeah, we want money
We
and
want
we want
money.
a lot of it. But once
Absolutely.
they had like the little tools, because we've noticed over time that it's just the little tweaks that make a huge difference. It's not the small stuff a lot of the time.
Yeah, it was just like, well, it was like open houses. It's like, hey, we got to have all the open house signs up. Hey, we got to be posting about the open houses. Hey, this is how you get the phone numbers from the open houses. And then most importantly, send them over to Jeff as soon as you get the number. Don't wait till after you leave the open house. Like, send it right away. Like,
Yeah.
send it while the person is still excited after looking at the open house.
Exactly.
The biggest killer in sales, time.
Oh yeah.
Time is the biggest killer in sales. You know,
That's
any-
what's stressful about a 30-day escrow.
oh yeah.
Like, it's like, you,
So much can go wrong.
You know what it
just had
is?
one.
It's not the 30-day escrow isn't the deal breaker. It's the 10 to 15 days that the contingency of the
yes,
deposit.
that's what we just
Yes.
happened. We just
That's
had to
the
happen.
issue. When the buyer has an opportunity to pull out of the deal without losing his deposit,
Yep.
that's your biggest stress. After that, it's like, all right, dude, you want to back out, but you're going to lose 10 grand. Nobody
Yep.
ends up backing out after that.
Right. Yeah, we had one. It was supposed to, everything's supposed to be removed, I think, day 14. We were like day 19, and then things didn't work out. We had to cancel. It's just, just that feeling.
Dag nabbit.
Dang damn it. This whippersnappers.
We're
You guys, you guys know who's
Patrick
Patrick
Bet
Bet David?
Yeah, he's the one that runs the PHP life insurance company. He's massive. I don't, well, like, I follow him and I've seen some of his podcasts, but I don't like directly, I guess, just constantly consume his content. But I know his stuff's really good.
And Ron just, Payson knows who he is. I'm not a social media guy, so no TikTok, no none of that. I only know about what people show me and go, what do you think of this? So I don't know who that person is, but
He's a monster. He created that life insurance company, and I don't know sizes of different life insurance companies, but I know he's created into this massive empire in a pretty
Nice.
short amount of time.
good for him. You know, it's funny, you mentioned life insurance. One time I came across this life insurance company that was like the sketchiest thing I've ever heard. They would offer you a policy and you didn't have to really keep it because they would just sell it to someone else. And then you would keep that money. And I was like,
Oh man.
and who do you do these deals for? And he's like, right now I'm just doing it for close friends and family. And I was like, got it. Illegal. That's all I needed to hear. When somebody's like, well, I'm only doing it with exclusive members of people. It's like, okay, I'm good on this one. You know, it was wild. It was like, so what do I do? And they're like, oh, you just buy this policy. I was like, okay, but what if I don't want the policy? It's okay, because we're just going to sell it to someone else. It's like, yeah, I don't
Was the guy's name Bernie Madoff? By chance?
Yeah, no, it was something Ponzi. It was something Ponzi.
Yeah,
I don't know. It was a really wild request. I never in the history of like my entire career in this industry had heard of something like that. And I don't know. I'm not an insurance expert. I don't know if that's even legal. But it was super sketchy.
It just seemed
because
it
it's
just
like
felt
I'm not
off.
even offering it to people. I'm just offering it to
To
people I
select
think,
people.
select people. And I was like, I am not the select people for you. So.
not me, not me.
So what's next? What's next on your empire endeavor? I mean, you've built up what you've built up. You got a bunch in escrow. You closed like 9 million.
We didn't
You
close.
had 10.
We're working on it.
And then you closed how
this
much?
month is
6?
Probably more. Yeah.
Okay. So you probably have more than 3 left because you've been putting new stuff
Yeah,
in
we're putting
too.
new stuff in. Like, we just put something new under contract today. We have 3. I have a listing going live today. I have pictures for a new listing going live tomorrow. That's $1 million house. So we're staying busy even during the summer.
Yeah, no, that's watching your mortgage career and your real estate career grow is pretty cool because it's like watching a baby turn into an adult. You know, you came in at first and you're like, yeah, I think I want to become a realtor. And then you got your license and now you're just boom, 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 closing. But you know what? It doesn't just happen.
No.
You
like-
put in so much work, and to anybody listening who's thinking, I'm going to become a realtor and sell 125 grand in gross income, I wish it was that simple. Hell, I'd stop doing what I'm doing and do it.
I wish it was that simple. And that was the thing. I think like for so long, I was like, man, I what's like the magic bullet, you know, like what does it? And then I moved to the company I'm at now. And the guys are like, there ain't magic bullet. We sit 30 open houses in 30 days. I'm like, and you guys get escrows out of that? Yeah. Okay. I'm sitting 30 open houses in 30 days.
Nice.
And that's like last week, I think I sat 12 open houses in 7 days. So we're doing that on top of all the other business that we're doing, and that's what's keeping us so busy. Is I think right now we're just literally outworking everyone, but we're working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I mean that's
24/7.
24/7. That's why we haven't been able to do the podcast lately.
Well, we're back. So we've now determined an effective schedule. We'll be doing the podcast Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard. Because between his schedule, my schedule, and everybody else in between, it was
Too
becoming
hard to juggle. Yeah,
It's too hard to
get
juggle.
it right during the middle of the day with your appointments and my appointments. It just wasn't working right. But
And
7
yeah,
o'clock,
so
we can make it work.
that's it. Anybody wondering, Mondays 7, unless one of us is sick or something comes up, but at least know to expect on Mondays. We also have some interesting stuff in the works here. While you've been gone, I've been, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing the whole get the name of the podcast out there. But we met with a company called K Tactical, and they were kind enough to send, and we're not sponsored by them as of yet. We're still kind of in the talks, but they were nice enough to not only send us it's not even a goodie bag, it's a goodie chest.
That was like a care package.
It was a care package to end all care packages, and some of the stuff is here on the desk. I'm gonna get the rest out, but
You guys can see
yeah,
like a sushi keychain.
So what you're gonna see here again, we're not paid to say anything. They sent this stuff to us just to check out.
A rail light.
But they manufacture, the gentleman who owns this company. So I'm gonna move this here, and the gentleman who owns this company, really cool guy, and he was kind enough to have us. Move this down.
Uh-oh.
Put that there. There we go.
That works.
And perfect. He was kind enough to invite us to his HQ in Orange County, and dude, it was a cool time. It was a cool time. Cool team, cool staff. Started with a software company. He was really into crypto. Apparently, he did extremely well. Turned it into a software company where he was programming crypto automated tools to sell to the market. COVID happened. Crypto took a dump. He folded on that business, but he had this airsoft gear company, and then he transitioned from airsoft into the real world stuff. So now he's making real, holsters, knives, tactical gear for anybody who's an avid shooter, competition shooter. And he was like, hey, you guys are partnered with USCCA. You'll probably like a little care package. Get this box. It's right here to the left of me. I don't know how they managed to fit all this stuff. Payson's going to grab it now. I don't know how they managed to fit all this stuff in this bag, because when I got it out, I could not put it back in. So they're wizards at the same time. And I mean, we're I told the guy, I appreciate everything. We're going to go through some of the stuff they sent us. And, we hope to have them as a sponsor of the channel soon. But as of right now, we're not being paid to say anything, just some cool stuff. But, they sent medical pouch. So if you're in the battlefield or you need to...
You're selling real estate and you need to...
Yeah, exactly. Hey, man, if you're selling real estate in the ghetto, you might need one.
This is going to come in handy someday. Payson.
Down to, like, belts for concealed carry if you need it to keep your belts on. They have these cool tack lights, pressure sensor tack lights, and, we've deviated all the way from finance right now. We're talking about this company. Cool little patches.
This is the important stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to push that up to the camera to show some of these. They got these like cool little Japanese characters. And
Preston will like the stuff if he's still on the podcast.
Yeah, if he's still on. Down to holsters. I mean, I don't even know what this one's for, but I'm sure I can figure it out. So, I mean, here we go. Glock 43 leather holsters down to Kydex. And this box,
That thing's full.
it's endless. If I were to just dump some of this stuff out, the whole
wouldn't have a
table
table
would be.
left.
So we really want to thank K Tactical, and what we'll probably do is I'm going to see if I can get the guys out here and take them to the range, and maybe we can do like a compilation video. We'll hire somebody to take video, and we'll go out and just have a fun day, meet with the guys, and then they've already agreed to be on the podcast. So we'll have the CEO of the company, probably maybe on the next one, depending on his schedule. But this is everybody's favorite right now. If you want to show that to the
thing is
camera,
awesome.
little keychains. And for anybody who's a gamer, if you played Rainbow Six Siege, those little keychains that you put on the guns.
Yeah.
So the they do a lot of like sushi pieces and stuff. It's really cool. So we want to thank K Tactical for sending this gear out to us, and we're gonna have a blast with it. a literal blast with it.
A literal blast.
So, I guess what's next for you and your team? We've already established that you're gonna make them, try to follow through with how you want the process of things to go. But what's next? Are you guys gonna get into an office? Are you what's the next transition?
So right now we're working on I'm working on hiring an assistant. I'm starting the process on that. So I've realized I don't know if I'm really good, but I at least really like talking to people and bringing in new clients. I hate the paperwork piece of everything. And what I've learned with doing 10 transactions at one time is there is so much paperwork and so much keeping those clients happy, and then you're also dealing with your active clients that are still looking for houses, and you're still trying to sell other people's houses. So that to leverage, and then working on setting up the systems and structure just to make it even easier for the team, and just keep training, getting better training. And
making sure it's all streamlined with the way Jeff does everything too, because Jeff's the integral part of the team. Nobody can get the loan if Jeff doesn't give the stamp of approval.
Exactly.
Of course. And we're literally there's some guys mostly in San Diego, and we're literally just copying them down to a T. And these guys are selling 500 million plus a year in volume. They're selling 800 plus homes a year. And if you're looking at that from a gross income standpoint, they're making gross income like 12.5 to like 13, 14 million in income.
It's not bad.
And they're running like 70 to 100 person teams. It's just crazy, but they have it's just this well-oiled machine that just constantly produces.
And do you work for that company, or you work for a separate
I
company?
don't know. Yeah, we're separate.
Yeah, I got brought in those people. I met those people 2 years ago in San Diego. That's why I joined the company I'm at now, was because I was like, man, I want to set up a team, and they're running teams better than anyone else I've ever seen run a team. Like, no one out here I've seen can do it the way they do it.
Yeah.
And doesn't do it the way they do it. Like, it's completely different. So I was like, I'm just going to copy exactly what they're doing. I'm not going to try and figure anything else out. I'm just going to copy what they're doing.
Yeah, and make adjustments as you see fit. Because, again,
everything.
Metropolitan city, small valley, it's a lot different. But I still hedging towards this Disney thing that they're building, this Cotino project. I know once that comes out, it's going to be...
Oh, this whole desert, that's what I keep talking to people about. Our desert has just grown so much. Like, I remember growing up out here, and, like, there wasn't anything to do. Like, you would, like... It was like, oh, you want to go to the aquatic center, and that was it. Or you want to go bowling. Now there's, like, just all these different things. We have the Acrisure Arena, and now there's the hockey, and there's the why can't I think of the word? The concerts and everything. Like, they're bringing in
the
huge
concerts
names.
there are next level. They literally bring out banger after banger, just like comedians, music talent.
They opened it with Dave Chappelle.
I know. I was there. I was there for the opening. That was really.
They opened the
Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle was the first.
What a combo!
Oh, dude. I will say the parking was a shit show. We literally had to walk 1.5 miles through the desert.
Worth it.
Yeah, and I remember I got home super cold because it was like 40 degrees and sweating, and my wife's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm covered in dirt and dust. I was like, "I don't want to talk about it." It was a great show, but after that, it was pretty bad. And yeah, man, it was a cool experience, but
there's just so
lot
much
of growth.
going on.
A lot of growth and a lot of changes, and it makes me wonder, if you don't buy now,
what's going to happen? That's what I keep talking about, and that's what I'm thinking to myself. Like, I truly believe, like, what's going to happen in the next 5 years? Like, are we going to look like San Diego, where he's at, where you're buying a gut for $700,000?
Living that one.
I'm not sure if one of the people in the chat is still here, but One of the viewers recently just bought a home, and he lives in San Diego, but he had to buy elsewhere because he's like, it's just not going to happen in San Diego. So he found a different area. If he's still here, I forgot the city that he bought
Temecula
in.
or something, huh?
Yeah, most likely Temecula, Murrieta.
But it's a brand new house. It's not even done being built.
Wow.
Like he's literally in the state. Like he always messages and goes, "Hey, I'm going to check out. The bathrooms are done, and then the garage is done." But it's really wild how he's stuck having to wait till they build it, and then if he doesn't like something, then he can change it because they told him
Crazy.
it has to be built to the spec. You can't tell us like change this to white, change this to gold, put a different shower head in. They're gonna build it the way they build it, and if you don't like it, after they're done building it,
You can change it.
You can change it. You
Yeah.
can take it apart and change it. So
They're pretty specific on what, like, it's usually like flooring.
Fallbrook, he is here.
Oh, Fall.
Fallbrook, baby,
Okay.
that's what he said.
I just had
there
a
you
lady sell her house in Fallbrook and then bought my client's house. That's funny.
1,600 square feet, 566,000.
What a deal.
Which in that
That area is a great deal.
it's a great deal. But
All changes after
where's it
market.
going to be in 2-3 years?
Oh,
You know,
it seems inevitable that it's just going to grow similar to San Diego. And we were even talking about the idea of the fact that there's no super teams out here. You go down to San Diego and there's these agent teams that are just pumping out 500 million, $1 billion.
Yeah.
And there's 10, 15 of them, and there's no one doing it out here. And so Payson's like, well, someone's going to do it, so it better be me.
we won't, hopefully they don't see this, but he said that, but they snuck in extra insulation from my closet for soundproof. Because I told them I'm going to make it a recording
That's
studio.
awesome.
He has a voice touched by God. He's got a radio voice. He used to do radio,
That
and
is
he still
awesome.
does like private stuff. But whenever, when we've gone out to eat and hung out and stuff, and everybody's like, who's this angelic voice? Who's this man with this?
They, like, turn around.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. He's got the radio voice. So one of these days. Originally, I asked him to do my podcast intro.
Oh, the intro?
Yeah, originally I was like, "Hey, do you want to do my podcast?" And he was like, "Yeah, dude, I'm like $100 an hour." And I was like, "Hey, bro, I don't have money for that right now. I'm just starting this company." But I'm gonna have to bring him on one day because he's just really fun to talk to. Maybe once he moves to Fallbrook and he's a bit closer, he'll be willing to come on. But yeah, man, the market changes. How many people do you really like out of the people that you help? What's the age group you're helping?
I think most of them are usually in their early 30s
Right.
and late 20s. So we've found that that's kind of the person that we connect with best is
Sure.
the first-time buyers because we can relate to them. We're
And
in the same category.
See,
right?
when people ask me this question, well, how much do I need to make to afford this?
Mm-hmm.
I've always known the industry standard to be about ballpark, not exact, but every 50,000 gross is about 250,000 approval, right? Or has that changed?
50,000 of gross income, you're saying?
Yeah, is about 250,000 of a home.
Yeah,
for a
I
loan.
think that's a pretty good rule
Okay,
of thumb.
that's the
Yeah.
rule of thumb I always. Just like when people ask me, what would the mortgage be? Every $100,000 in mortgage is $500 payment.
Now it's a lot higher.
Is it
now
really?
it's like 700
Oh,
to
with the interest
750
rate.
with the rates.
Right, with the
Yeah.
interest rates and everything.
Yeah.
But I always did that number minus the interest and PMI, if there was PMI.
Mm.
Yeah, just
Mm-hmm.
to give it ballpark. And then I would go like, all right, go up like another 300, 400 from that number. But one of the things I want to talk about is I was at a graduation party for a buddy of mine who graduated from UCLA.
Mm-hmm. And
And we're all in the backyard, just sitting around the table talking. And you know the deal I got on my house. 265,000,
wow.
2,000 square feet. Bought it the same day. I literally came on market. I bought it. It was like one owner, old couple. They had to move because the husband was sick. I knew this guy was sick. As a matter of fact, I was like, he's not going to make it.
Wow.
He was really that bad. And I was like, if he's going to die, just don't die until after we close.
Right.
And sure enough, dude, we closed on the house, and a week later, he died. He had an infection, and it killed him. And I was like, I took to my wife. I was like, I smelled it. Like, there's a death smell. And I was like, I just smelled it off this guy.
We need a 20-day offer. We can't do a 30-day.
It was so wild because everything was pretty much, if he died, that was it. The deal was she was going to stay.
man.
And, he was he lived a great life. Older guy. He was like 88 years old, 89 years
Yeah,
old.
so you live a good life.
Yeah, no, he lived a great life, but it's just that was one of those like out of the heavens deal good. But everybody to this day, and even at this party, it was brought up, which was, God, you're so lucky You're so lucky. And I go, okay. And I sat him down and I said, okay, pretend that this deal comes about again for you tomorrow. A house comes on the market, $265,000. You got the down payment in your account? You have the closing cost in your account?
Right.
You have any of that? You have the credit ready to do it? You have your pre-approval letter? No. I said, so why am I lucky?
Yeah.
You know,
you
where's
had everything
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah, it's like it was good timing. It's luck of the timing, I guess. It happened. What was lucky was I looked at like 40 homes. My mom was walking the dog and was like, oh, this house just came up. I'm like, no, it didn't. I've been on Zillow and every website every day, all day. And the house came up and she's like, no, let's go. I'll show you. And showed it. I bought it the same day. The
Crazy.
realtor who sold the house then started passing cards around saying, I sell houses in one day. And I wrote her, I said, my mom sold that house, not you. Let's slow our roll. But, you know, one of the things that the reason I'm bringing this up is I really want to hammer home to anybody who's listening that this, like, I'm lucky, you're lucky, they're lucky. It's not. It's about pre-planning. The house coming on the market is literally 10% of the battle.
Yeah. If
Right.
that.
This is something we talk about with a lot of people that, like, especially that come into open houses, because they're like, oh, well, we're not looking yet. It's like, okay, we get you don't want to look for 12 months. Have you talked to anyone about to see even if you could possibly even get approved for? Because if you can't probably get approved now,
Right.
you're probably not going to get approved in 12 months
Yeah.
either. Well, no. I would talk to a mortgage professional. You don't have to send any documents in or anything. You don't need to pull credit, but talk to someone and even make sure you're at least on the right track, because
Right.
by the time a year comes down, you're still not ready. And then your mortgage guy's going to be like, hey, you got another 6 months of working on stuff, and now you're pissed because you have to wait another 6 months
Right.
when you thought you were mentally ready.
Yeah, even, you know, it's always been my thing. It's like, do you want to do this? Yeah. When? Oh, next year. Cool. Start now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need at least 6 months to a year of prep. Getting your ducks in an order, getting your credits situated, making sure your taxes look good. I deal with it on the business owner side where it's like, well, how do we want our taxes to look this year? Well, if you want to pay more because you need to get a new house, then you're going to have to pay more. It's what it is. But if you don't need to, then
Pay
do what
less.
you need to do.
Yeah.
But there's implications and to all the decisions you make that really change, you know, the factors of how these deals go on. You know, I'm not sure what the percentage of the down payment that Fallbrook home came out to, because he's saying 1660, 566. You know, I don't know what the how that deal broke down, how quick it hit the market, and if you're still here, good sir, if you're willing to share all that way we
Give
can
us everything, your credit score, your social security number,
Yeah.
your income.
you know, mother's maiden name. Everybody get that, go.
What high school you went to? What was your first dog's name?
And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't see him as being lucky. If he had the money to do it, he took an
Right.
opportunity and found something that made sense for him.
Well, the other piece of it is everyone's like how like houses used to sell for 40,000 and now they sell for 500,000. Well, if we look again in probably another 30, 40 years from now, the house probably is going to be that same jump is probably going to happen again. So it's like, don't feel like you have to like wish you could go back in time and buy a house. Buy a house now, sit on it, and wait on it,
Oh
just like
yeah,
everyone else does.
I firmly believe the 80,000, 100,000 days are gone, and they'll never
forever.
be
There's
back.
no
I
chance.
just don't.
Especially
don't
in
think,
California.
not even just, I think in the world. And the reason I say that is because the dollar isn't what it used to be. You can't do it. You know, all things said and done, these inflationary rates still haven't changed. You can't go out to eat for under $70, $50. If you're a single guy, single girl, you go out to get a food wherever from, it's like $20, $30.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's not going to change because I use the insurance story all the time where they call and said we have to raise your rates because it doesn't cost X amount of dollars to build this house anymore.
Yep.
If you have a total loss, we can't build it for this dollar amount. I asked the question, okay, when the inflation adjusts itself and it deflates, are you going to call me back and change my rate back down? Oh, no. Why would these companies go back to charging you $3 if you've been paying $7 for the last 4 years? Just keep it the way that it is.
Yeah.
There's no way these houses will hit what they hit. And if they do, I think at that point, if the houses ever go to that point where they're being sold for 80 grand, that means there's a bigger problem.
Yeah, that means our country is just, it's good.
That's
It's
a whole different problem.
And if you look at it from the 2012 perspective even, or 2011, you could say the same thing going, oh man, it's going to go back to 2001 levels and we're going to see, a 25 or 50
Yeah.
grand house, and all those people waited for another 10 years.
And now the rates are back to what they historically were, and they're like, "Oh, the rates are so high.
Yeah, it's impossible."
They're not 2%." And it's like, we just got to mess with your $500K for a fixer-upper in Compton. I don't know, folks. If we're going $500K in Compton, I think it's pretty much. I think if you're looking to get a house, it's time.
Buy now.
Buy now.
Contact me.
There was something that, and different areas. Texas still has some really decent pricing. A lot of like the Midwest.
I know. I have friends that are still buying rentals in the Midwest. And they're paying $50,000 a pop, but I mean, it's an old house. It's not in a nice area.
House,
it's like it's not like they're not buying what people are buying out here. Like they're not buying the $566,000 house in Fallbrook. That's a
brand new,
house.
literally brand new.
Right.
Yeah.
They're buying this thing that's probably been there since 1890.
Yeah, a lot of those Midwest, West Coast, or East Coast houses, like, it's wild. Those brick houses, I look at when they were built in, like, 1901.
Yeah.
They last forever.
The money isn't in the wood of the house. It's the land that it sits on. Even fixer-uppers are worth money in California. That's true. And that's a rule of thumb for real estate. We always say, even in the
location
from the inside, it's staged to look nice. What's important? Price, location. Because you can change anything about the house. You cannot pick it up and move it. Unless it's house on wheels. But that's not the same thing.
It's a different story.
Exactly. I love how you said worth money in California. Yeah, it's and a lot of these companies are selling commercial assets, like BlackRock, and a lot of these companies are now selling commercial assets and buying residential again. So I don't know if they're gonna put a halt on that, because I feel like we're just slowly working our way back into 08 recession again, where it's like all these major corporations were buying and holding and then just inflating and then dumping. But it's kind of scary to think that, like, pretty soon, and I hope I'm wrong, but it's pretty scary to think, like, all the big banks, all the big companies are going to be the landlords of the world. And
Right.
You're just
that's
a renter.
what they're expecting, I feel like, within the next 100 years, right? Like, it's like, hey, pretty much people aren't going to be able to buy a house. You're just going to be stuck renting. Like, get used to it. It's almost what it seems like.
I'm gonna look that up really quick, because I know they bought some extraordinary number.
Oh, they're buying insane amounts. I mean, it's not out here, and I heard it's not in San Diego either, but it's definitely in other parts of California, and it's all over. Have either of them encountered homes held by Chinese real estate brokers?
That was actually a big deal in Canada. They're called ghost flippers. No, not banks. There's very rich families in China who would sit in a room in China with a projector, and they were buying real estate in Canada. And the problem was that the Canadians weren't even able to afford living in their own cities anymore. There was a big humanitarian issue with that too, because the landlords of the property were letting like 6 families live in them at a time.
Wow.
So it was really crazy, and what he's talking about is a real thing. I think they were calling it ghost flipping, but I'm not quite sure if they've put a hold on that or not. But corporate investors just took 50. Okay, so this was written in June 19 in 2021. Corporate investors snapped up 15% of the U.S. homes for sale in the first quarter of this year.
That's incredible.
That was in 2021. And
That
again,
makes sense.
big investors,
But it wa-
BlackRock.
It wasn't out here. Like, from
No, it
what
was
I
in the
know.
world. It was in
Yeah,
that's
from the world.
15% in the world.
Just crazy. We had someone say, have either of them encountered homes held by Chinese real estate brokers? What are you meaning just by an agent or broker that happens to be Chinese? Or are you talking about like someone that owns a house and they're like some
No,
big
I think he's
corporate
talking.
thing
Yeah, I
from-
think he's talking
from
about
China?
like
Okay.
foreign powers
I gotcha.
buying into the. I mean, I know that China bought a bunch of land in the United States too.
Yeah, well, like they're huge in like the East Coast.
Like they bought a lot
Especially
of like
New York and
agricultural
Florida.
land. Yeah, and then I think Florida passed a law that said they would no longer sell
Yeah, that's a
U.S.
restricted
soil
amount, right?
to any land to foreign entities, because the problem is like you had other countries coming in and buying, because this country has nothing but available space, land, abundancies of land, whether it's agricultural, homes, they can't even build as many homes as the market has. That's still the issue.
Right.
They could probably house the entire country if they were to actually build houses in every nook and cranny of the country. But they won't. That's a whole different project, whatever it may be. But when these companies were coming in and they were buying like agriculture, and then it's like, okay, well, there's a security threat there too, because it's like, what if we go to war with this country and they own all this land in agriculture? Now we can't farm our own food because it's held by someone else. But it's wild that in 2021, 15% of the entire U.S.'s house was owned by corporations. So we'll see. I mean, we talked about it in a podcast before where we thought this was probably going to be the last generation of home buyers that are outside, and I don't mean like people who have money or past that generational wealth, or somebody who goes to like law school and has a really good job, or somebody even out of law school just has a really great job. I'm talking about like the common, the most common denominator of people, which is just like your average guy who works hard. Even if he went to school, the job that he went to school for doesn't pay the way that it should. So it's like, you do the loans for a living. 2 family, okay, let's say, what's the average income for a family? Average family income.
It depends on the area, but
Sure, but let's just, okay, 70,000.
70,000.
The national median in the household income in the U.S., 70,784. You're a mortgage guy. You approve the loans for people to buy houses. In today's market, how much can that get you?
It depends on their debt. So
Sure,
that's
but
been the key thing, right?
Average debt.
Average debt. Probably somewhere in the range of like 350 to 400,000.
Okay.
So
How many houses are out there for 350, 400?
Not many.
yeah.
I was sitting in a house today for $499, and it and only one other home, and this is just North Indio, but there's only 2 homes in North Indio that a family could buy for under $500,000 right now, a single family residence. It's not talking about condos, but for a home, only 2 homes priced under $500,000, and they were $499.
The interesting thing, though, is that if you look at the housing affordability index, I mean, it's definitely gone down, and it's not great, but it's very similar to the 80s and 90s. So it feels really bad, but if you pull up the U.S. housing affordability index, relatively not that bad. It's definitely on the low end, but, it's
What was
still
this
possible.
index? What was the index that you were saying?
The U.S. Housing Affordability Index. It's really difficult to get data on it for whatever reason.
That's not good.
No.
And so it was essentially showing what? That it's still plausible?
That it's still plausible. It's on the lower end of affordability, meaning it's a difficult time in
telling me
history.
as of May 2023, it's at a 93.8. So what is the 93.8 solidify?
So I don't know on that particular metric because there's a million different ways that people measure it. But I would imagine in 2023, at the beginning of the year, we were at a very low point, just given with rates shooting back up.
I got something cool.
Let's hear it.
Median sales price of houses sold for the United States. This is the entire country wrapped into one.
Yeah.
Take a guess. What do you think the average home in the U.S. goes for?
460,000.
Damn, he's close.
Really?
Yeah.
I like my data.
436,800.
Yeah.
Is that affordable with a $70,000 median income?
That's really cutting it, right?
It's cutting it close. But I think if you don't have debt, it's doable.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't
If
have
you don't
debt.
have, if you don't have your Mercedes with the $900.
Average people. We
are in a
living
debt
in
society.
It's a debt society.
You live on ramen.
You know what? Hold on. Let me see if I can share it with the stream here. I want to see if I can share it with you guys. Give me a second. It's actually pretty scary. Because the chart, you seen it there, Payson?
I see. I think your background. It's probably just taking a second.
So this is
It's always a few seconds behind.
So this is Fred,
Yep,
St.
there we
Louis
go.
Fed.org.
Oh, there we go.
So just to put it into retrospect,
Yep.
in 2020 quarter 2, the average median price $322,600. Okay? Between 2020 quarter 2, let's just say quarter 2 2021 went up to 382, But now, at its peak, and it's going down like you had mentioned, quarter 4 of 2022 is at 479,500. This is over the course of the last 5 years. And I'm curious to see over the course. Yeah,
Redfin has some pretty good data too. If you pull up the housing, they have some more up-to-date, like shorter timelines, and you can see the snapback already that we've seen in prices.
Yeah, this goes
We were
by
talking
quarters.
about
This
was
goes every year
crazy.
and quarter. Yeah.
Yeah, they have month by month, and the
Like-
movements that we've seen over the past year have
Well,
just been insane.
Like San Diego's problem right now, they don't have enough stuff coming on the market, and people are snapping it up just as quick.
Sure,
So over
that's
the
another
last-
issue is time.
Over the last 6 months, houses have gone up 18% in San Diego.
Yeah, we were at a median price, I think, of about 780, and now we're at 930 in 6 months.
Jesus.
6 months.
See, and this chart, once you guys see it here, I have it going as far back as to the year 2000. And this is why when I say it'll never go back to what it is, because if you look historically, as good as the economy has been and as bad has been in the last 20 years, it never went back to the lowest number of the last 20 years.
Nope.
The problem is we look at this increase from 20 to 22 that went from 320 all the way up to 479. Even when this number tapers off, I guarantee you it's not going to go any lower than 322.
No,
I don't think so.
no,
I
there's no
can't
way.
see that happening.
That's just wild to think 20 years ago, and again, 20 years ago, we were young guys. Some of it, well, I was going, you guys were 2. You were 5. Okay. I was
Should have been
9.
buying houses. What was I doing?
Yeah, we should have bought a house with it. But the point being, like, the numbers speak for themselves. I don't care what economists say. I don't care what the news says. I don't care what Andrew Tate says. I don't care what Jordan Belfort says. I don't care what Grant Cardone says. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I look at charts and statistics.
Yes.
I don't see this number tapering back down below that. And when
No.
we go to the average median of a household being 70,000, we factor cost of living. You're talking about debt. Forget debt. Let's talk cost of living.
Right.
Out of that 70,000, that's gross. That's not a net take home. So you're talking taxes, then you're talking car payments. So you can't even get a car these days
know.
for less than $400 or $500.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
The dealer markup thing is a joke. They're like double the price of the car because you just happen to have it on the lot. Cost of groceries, the average grocery cost is up through the roof. The rent, the
What I bought
utilities.
yesterday on groceries, it wasn't anything, and I spent like $120, and I was like, "How is this $120?"
3 bagels and an apple.
That's what it felt
We,
like.
when you said we should have bought the houses when we were kids, somebody said, "Why is my dad on the podcast?" But it just goes to show where it's like the realistic scenario: is this affordable for our generation of guys as they grow up, they get out of school, they get these jobs, and it's like, okay, 70,000, even 90,000, you're still cutting it close because car payments, credit card debt, student debt. Right? You're talking about debt to income. Student debt is already already in there. And that,
How many people right now are you working with where they're just squeezing by on their DTI?
Oh, it's almost every situation
there we
is
go.
razor
He-
thin.
He was trying to be really nice. Be like, well, good situation, no debt. It's like, yeah. But let's talk about the real situation, the average person. It's scary, man. These kinds of figures, when you break it down and look at it, it's scary because it's like, where do you go from here?
But it doesn't take that big of a shift, I feel like, for things to adjust back, right? If you have a 5% decrease in median price and maybe another 10% increase in wages during that period, I mean, that can dramatically change someone's affordability.
Sure, but you have to factor increase in wages does what?
Usually is going to drive those prices up.
Not even that, cost of living.
Exactly.
It's this constant trying to catch up game.
Yep.
Wages can go to $100 per hour if they want to. We're still gonna have milk at $100 per, or $100 per carton.
I know, that's what sucks. It's like, I feel like we're making more money, but it's like everything else is getting just as
Super expensive, yeah.
Like, I remember my parents used to be mad, and it's like, man, dinner for all of us costs $30-$40. And now I take out my girlfriend, and the meal, like you said, minimum, we're not even buying alcohol or anything. $50. And like that's a cheap date. Like that's like we're like picking things that are cheaper on the menu, no appetizers. She gets a water, I get an iced tea. That's it. $50. Like all day. You're in San Diego, it's probably 10 grand.
Yeah. Just about.
So just to put this in retrospect, the median account balance across the country.
Oh no. This is not
This
going
was
to be
done
good.
in 2019, so it's probably a lot less now.
$4?
$5,300
Oh my
throughout the
gosh.
entire country in how much people were keeping in their account balances. The number for the savings is pretty good. I mean, all things considered, the average savings account balance in the United States was $41,600. That's in
bad.
2019.
Yeah.
But that was before. I don't know if they're taking from their COVID numbers or not. But
COVID numbers went up a lot though, right?
Significantly.
Because
Yeah, the
everyone
savings
wasn't
rate was
doing
high.
stuff, so they were just saving
well, that and there was
all the COVID money.
Massive
there was
stimulus.
a lot of COVID money in the stimulus coming out.
I got
too.
like what? I think like 3 or 4 of those. Did you get those?
I got none of them.
Got like
Oh, here
3
we
or
go.
4 of those.
Average savings by age. This is a really great chart. I'm going to share this one. This is cool. And then we're going to wrap it up here in just a second because I know we're going a little bit over time, but I want to just talk about this before we close out. Average saving by age. As this is goes up to 75. So less than 35 up to 75. The median amount in the average savings less than 35. Okay, you said your age is like early 30s. Median amount $3,200.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. This is why everyone needs a seller credit.
And to buy a house. I mean, there's an interesting statistic if you look at the net worth of homeowners versus non-homeowners, and it's like $8,000 on average for someone who's not a homeowner, or somewhere in that ballpark. I know it's below 10. And if you own one home, you're in the like 200 to 250 range. And then if you own more than 2 houses, your typical net worth is above $1 million. It's like
Yeah.
1.2.
It's a weird like jump and gap.
Huge
I don't know
jump.
if you guys can see this one where it says
It's moving slow, but
where it says average savings by income. So
yeah.
we were saying average median income in the U.S. is 70,000.
10,000.
10,000 is the median amount that they have saved up.
Wow.
That's not enough to buy a house at $400K.
Seller credit.
Seller credit. That's why you got to call Payson and Jeff. They'll make something happen. But this
We
is
do.
We do.
this is just
That 10,000, that's your down payment right there.
Yep.
Hey man, you can make a dream happen with that, sure. And financing, and we've talked about it before, is financing it in the loan for a couple bucks more is probably in the best interest anyways.
Yeah.
I did that where I got them I paid more than the house was worth just so I didn't have to pay any closing costs.
I did the same thing.
And then it's like, boom.
Wrap it in.
Wrap it in. I'll pay the extra $20 a month, and then I put 50 grand in the house, and then it appraised for 580,000.
Crazy.
So it was like, cool, smart financial move.
Yep.
But don't be house broke either. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
A lot of people buying houses that, you can buy it just because you can. Like,
Doesn't mean you should.
yeah, it's like those people who go out and buy Hellcats.
Yeah.
84 months, 20%, $1,200 payments. Like, yes, theoretically you can buy this, but should you?
I just don't know who, as a regular person, is like, yeah, I want to go and spend $1,200 a month on a car payment.
Insane.
It just blows my mind. Like that just hurts me. I don't. it just hurts.
Well,
Like I know what we said, what I made gross at the beginning of this podcast just last month, and that's still like that just sounds terrible.
yeah. I want to thank you for coming out. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure
this
meeting
is
all the time, but people passing through the day, ghosts whispering through the night, I guess we could call it. Want to wrap this up. Thank you for everybody listening. If you wanted to pick the next topic, join the membership, the MITM membership. You can pick your topic. We appreciate everybody tuning in. All the talking that was done in the chat, we love it. Keep it up. Before we close out, we're going to thank our sponsors, USCCA. We'll play their video one last time. And again, big shout out to K-Tactical. If you want to check out their stuff, ktactical.com for all of your tactical needs. Cool people. Can't wait to have them on the podcast. And, thank you both. And we will see you guys on the next one.
See you in the next
Before
one.
we go,
Thanks for listening to Man in the Middle. If you haven't yet, please consider liking and subscribing to the show. If you can't wait till next episode, follow us on Instagram at MITM Business Consulting and online at mitm.services. There, you can learn more about what we do, how we can help, and the custom services we offer around your personal needs. Until next time, if you'd like to choose the topic we discuss and receive additional services, consider joining our membership program at mitm.services.
Disclaimer. Man in the Middle expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, reliance on, or inability to use this podcast or the information presented in this podcast.
We look forward to you tuning in next time.